And I've seen like the most extreme cases where the mother wants to write the guy out the script.
Oh,
like, I mean, seriously, like
we've had
write
that.
him out the script.
We've had that.
And so I've been shocked oftentimes, and there are a lot of different responses. I've seen some guys, they ready to go to war. And when I say war, I mean, they gonna
fight.
They gonna literally fight. You know, they gonna track you down at your mama house, at grandma house.
Yeah,
I want to see my baby. I want to see my baby.
Welcome to another episode of Just My Baby Daddy podcast. It's your boy AJ.
It's the D1 athlete Eli. Is that better?
What?
I'm an athlete today.
Who's your D1 athlete?
Hey man, I got D1 talent, man. Look, I got D1 height and D1 talent. You don't know nothing about that, JUCO.
Yeah, but I was an actual D1 athlete. Let's back to this.
D1 AAA.
Oh, come on, man. Don't look. Just because we're a black school, I was a D1 school.
Oh really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought when you went there, y'all in the MEAC.
Oh, come on, bro. MEAC is D1.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sub level D1. I got you.
Oh man,
Y'all got to do the play-in for the NCAA tournament, right?
Oh my gosh, come on, man.
I was just asking.
The school couldn't go. I don't want to talk about your school. Your school is my school.
No, you got to talk about yourself.
Don't be doing this to me. We got a guest here. Come on.
Hey, look, man. Today we got somebody that's, we're going to say this, the most sophisticated guest that we had today because, look, not only, well, we got the blue light for a reason, so we don't want to talk about that. We ain't going to talk about that. No, look, we're not going to talk about the blue light. You know, it's supposed to be red. But we have a completely different perspective on fatherhood with us today. We have a district, Wake County district judge on the ballot now trying to go up for re-election and make sure you secure your spot. Judge Baker.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right. I'm in my third year. As a district court judge.
So they like you.
Oh, listen, they like me, and I believe I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
Right. But no doubt, it's hard work. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to hold it down for another 4 years. So yeah, I'll be on the ballot in 2022.
Oh man, you'll get it.
Yeah.
No worries about that.
Hey man, I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
I promise we're not going to mess you up.
Right.
He's not gonna mess you up.
Now I'm not so sure the way we started.
Look, you gotta watch him. You gotta watch him. Now that joker slick now.
Listen, we're going to give you a
let's see how it
chance to have an excellent answer for your first question because your first question is going to set you up perfectly.
All right, let's
Right?
see. Let's see.
Your question is, what does it mean to you to be a father?
Okay. All right. Well, good question. Good question. So fatherhood for me is profound. It's like I'm a creator. I mean, I really think like I made some. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I made something like another life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, for me, responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You know, like that's a word that jumps out. Love, strength. But yeah, I would just tell you my fatherhood experience is like a depth of love I've never experienced before.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because that goes. I mean, I'm thinking about my kids, my relationship with my kids, but even just seeing my wife care of my children. I got 3 kids. I'm a father of 3. It's like a depth of love even for her, man, and this appreciation for just like this miracle of life. Wow. I mean, to think that I'm able to co-create with God, man, to create something that's going to live on beyond me.
Oh, wow.
So it's for me, it's a profound thing, man.
So when you sit back and think about it, then the words that you were talking about, responsible, profound, and being able to create, right? When you think about that, just that piece alone, where do you draw the strength from to kind of keep going and make sure that you're the best father that you can be?
Yeah. Well, I remember early on as a father, I would discipline my kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I say discipline, I mean just like instruction.
Look, you're on the ballot.
Yeah,
we ain't judging.
All right. Okay, thank you. I'm just trying to navigate. Navigate my way through this. But so many times, like I would tell my son, if you're gonna do something, do it right the first time. I mean, just like little instruction, right? And then it's like the words would just bounce right back to me. And so in some ways, man, it was this weird, I almost felt like it's this weird way of the universe making me accountable. Because how I'm gonna teach them and instruct them and I'm not doing or being what I'm telling them to be. And that was, I mean, even just from an early age, I mean, from an early stage, like with seeing them develop, you know, for myself, it's just like, yeah, I'm trying to teach them, but I knew I had to show them. I couldn't just tell them. I had to be what I was trying to in the same, have them to act in the same way I'm trying to.
Not just do as you say, but do as I do as well.
Yeah.
So how did you start taking that accountability to say, you know what, let me not just provide you lip service, but I'm doing the same thing that I'm asking you to do. What was that first step towards getting there?
Yeah. So, I had kids. So I was young when I had kids. And when I say young, you know, I married at 22. My career was in nonprofit. So I didn't have a lot of money. But I felt like just by virtue of having a child, I wanted them to have a certain life. I wanted them to be able to experience. And I grew up, you know, okay, solid family background, but I still wanted to make sure I could provide. And I'm just saying, that was important enough for me. You know, it's kind of funny because people see, you know, I've got a title now. But people don't know, like I worked overnight at Toys R Us, stocking shelves, worked in warehouses, but it was because I really, really, you know, sincerely wanted to be able to try to provide for my kids. You know, so I went to law school later in life. And that was, I mean, I'm just saying my kids helped motivate me to do that.
Yeah.
So just trying to live up to my ideal of what a good father should be.
So what is your definition of a good father?
Yeah. The very basic is showing up and being present.
Yep.
And I would just say this, being present, but not being toxic, you know, being stable. You know, like there are a lot of reasons why dads can't be there in a kid's life every day.
Yeah.
But man, just so they know, you know, I got you.
Yeah.
Trying to bolster their belief in themselves by being an encourager. You know, to me, that's what a good dad is. I don't want to put too much on the provider front, but regardless of your ability to provide, you can always be supportive.
Right.
So that was I mean, the foundation. That's it. You know, being supportive.
Because I think sometimes what happens is when men talk about providing, first thing that comes to mind is money.
No doubt.
But now as I've gotten older and realized, providing is being there and being present.
Yeah.
Because you can be there and not be present.
Yep.
And, you know, you got to be accountable. You got to be more in touch to encourage, to instill confidence, to instill that. And so with you, like you was mentioning that you said, I have a title now. Does that title ever come into play with your parenting?
I'm probably more protective of my kids now. I mean, just to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of how much exposure, you know, I give you. If you look at my social media, you don't see a whole, you know, I don't put them out like that.
Yeah.
So it does affect it in that way. I'm just very much more sensitive to just keeping them safe and kind of out of some of the muck and mire of politics. But then also, you know, I see a lot of the things where people get off track. And so just trying to make sure, you know, I'm not doing some of the negative things.
Yeah.
I talked about not being toxic. And it's hard, man, sometimes putting your needs secondary to theirs. But I do think, you know, that's what, you ask what is a good dad. I mean, I think that's important. So not being selfish, you know, putting their needs ahead of yours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nah, that makes a lot of sense.
So I know you see dads all the time.
Yes, sir.
Because of what you do.
Yep.
Right. So you see what not to do.
I do, indeed.
A lot.
Yeah.
You see what not to do a lot. Is there ever a time that you feel as though that I saw this, it may have freaked me out what I saw in court, and now when I go home, I feel as though I'm doing this with my kids. Do you ever feel like you bring work home?
Well, I just want to affirm, I see a lot of like what not to do. Yeah. And really, I mean, this topic is like ego. I mean, just male ego, fighting with, you know, your partner. So whether you're married to your kid's mom or you're not, whether y'all like each other, you don't, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. That's what I meant when I was talking about, you know, putting your needs second.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's easy to get the kids like caught up in the middle of strife between the parents.
Yeah.
And if anything, yeah, I mean, I think it's really, really critical. Keep the kids out of that as best you can. And like I said, I don't care if that's you got an intact family, blended family, whatever. Try to spare the kids from the adult drama.
Gotcha.
You know, even when and there are times where you got to break it down and be honest with the kids. If there are things that you can't do or that you don't have, and maybe you have to explain it to them. But yeah, try to make sure you know you kind of get a safe space for them where they're not caught up in any of the toxicity and the drama.
Gotcha. So when you sit back and think about when you were talking about, you know, you had smaller odds and ends jobs before you had your title or before you went to law school. What from that period in your life do you feel is important to instill into your children?
Yeah. No. Well, I would just say they saw me work. Good. Like my kids, you know, they kind of grew up with me, and so they saw me putting in the work. And so what I hope that instilled in them is the idea that you can do and have whatever you want as long as you're willing to work hard. Nobody owes you anything. You know, doesn't matter, you know, how smart you think you are, how talented you think you are, you got to put in the work. And so I hope that they've gleaned that from watching my example.
Gotcha. So you like you said, they've grown up with you or gone through that transition with you. Now that you're super protective over what they're exposed to, what you know, you're just a protector. Yeah. Do you ever feel like that you're overprotective, or they're missing out on opportunities or
I'll tell
situations?
You what. So I'm learning to let go. And when I say, well, I shouldn't say let go, but you know, it's like this. Love is like this delicate balance. 'Cause, you know, you can squeeze too hard.
And squish,
yeah. And so, you know, I'm making adjustments all the time. Making adjustments all the time. I would never describe myself as like an overprotective dad. Okay. But you know, for example, so my oldest is a girl. She's actually a young lady now. You know, I wasn't a dad who tried to come to the door with guns, you know, to scare off the guys.
You want to bully daddy.
But yeah. I wanted to make sure we never lost connection. And that was my way of, you know, instead of trying to come at it with force or say, don't choose this guy and don't do this and don't do that. I just want to maintain that connection, man, and be able to always talk. And that's the thing that even now, really, no matter how old my kids get, I just want to make sure we got a strong enough relationship where, you know, there's no walls put up. There doesn't have to be any pretense. Yeah. Tell me what's going on. You know, let me in.
Well, one good thing, you ain't got to show up with guns. You're a judge. Like, straight up. Like, it's one, like, I mean, like, you be like, I messed your whole life up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's abuse of power.
That could be abuse of power, but I think it's one of those where people say, but I do understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because rightfully, man, you know, we got to look out for our babies. And there just are so many folks who out here, they want to exploit and take advantage. Mm-hmm. And I ain't having that. Wow. So, you know, I'm not gonna abuse my power, but
he tried to suggest it for you.
Yeah, but I'm glad I know some.
You know some people, right? Exactly.
Okay, look, that joke sound like in the.
Exactly.
I'm connected.
Yeah, you know, hey, I told him to be here at 10 o'clock. It is 10:05. You get pulled over. I ain't got nothing to do with it.
He the same one. He's like, yo, I don't never worry about getting pulled over. I just show him this, huh? I grew up because my pops was a sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, yeah, you get pulled over, just tell him who I am. You can go ahead. I was like, all right, cool.
Boy, I tell you, that was in the day before the body cams.
Oh, God,
yeah, because you can't really win if you. I understand what you're talking about, but now people say, oh, he wants preferential treatment.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Yes,
think
I
about
do.
that.
Yeah.
I ain't go to school for all this for nothing. I got student loans.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you were talking a lot about, not a lot about, but you mentioned male ego, and you was talking about your daughter.
Yep.
Now, a man raising a daughter and wanting to keep open lines of communication, how have you been able to take your ego out, because it's your daughter's, to keep that communication going?
Yeah. So this is, I mean, I'm just telling y'all, it's always a work in progress. But I think
Thank you for being honest.
Yeah, but I think as men, like, there's certain notions that we have that are stereotypical notions that aren't steeped in truth, in terms about women. You know, well,
I want to hear. Give me some examples now.
What I was, because the most squeamish issue, you know, is like sexuality, and I talk about the dating part and all that. You know,
Oh, yeah, you're right.
that's still tough, right? But let's face the reality of it, and that's all I'm saying. Like, this courage that it takes to be a father, to be a man. Sometimes it takes courage to just be real.
Yes.
You know.
Face that fact.
Yeah, and face the facts. Your child ain't gonna be a baby forever. And
That's a scary
yeah.
thing.
It's a very scary thing.
And that comes with, you know, adult experiences, adult missteps and mistakes, you know. And so just being honest about that, and it's easier to do if you can be real about, like, your own path. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I didn't get it right. I mean, and my dad, you know, I mean, I would just say, like, I've did some stupid stuff, but I had the type of father who never, like, hung that over my head or made me feel shamed about, you know. And so I'm just trying to emulate and be, you know, kind of be that same way.
Got you. So you're talking about your father, and one thing that we usually ask people is, who wrote the manual that you followed to be a father?
Well, I referenced my dad. I have a good dad who was, you know, he was there. Like, he was the type of dude. He worked the office job. He'd pull up if he saw us playing in the street in those hard shoes. I mean, he'd come out here and, you know, play football with us or whatever. Like, so, you know, I saw him being able to wear all these different hats. And for a long time, you know how as a kid, you don't figure out until you get a certain age, oh, man, they got flaws. He's not really Superman. He's not the strongest man in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling, like, in those early years, that's how I saw my dad. And then when I could see him for who he was as a man, you know, his flaws were minimal. I knew at the end of the day, like, he loves us.
Yeah.
He loved me and my siblings. You know, we had a lot of fun. You know, I didn't even mention that, talking about what is a good dad. Well, good dads have fun with their kids. You can't be James Evans all the time. I mean, you know, hard on your kids all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Stress your damn self out.
Yeah, right.
Damn.
Yeah, so, you know, so you say, like, who, you know, the blueprint, you know, I gleaned a little bit from that. You know, and I mentioned a TV dad. I mean, there are TV dads, like, that I admire. One was, I can't name because he's been canceled.
Hey, I didn't know where you were going.
Yeah. No. You know, he's been canceled, and I would say rightfully so. But, you know, there were aspects of that particular show that I won't name.
That's true.
Listen, man, ain't nothing wrong with Cliff.
Yeah,
We ain't talking about
There you
Bill.
go.
Hell with Bill. We ain't talking about Bill right now. We're talking about
boy,
Cliff.
you got some genius in you.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm worried about
Just help me
we here
out.
for Cliff
Yeah.
Huxtable.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. Cliff Huxtable. I mean, I know that's TV, right? But there were aspects of that, man. Like, I really like,
Yeah.
you know, he'd hug Theo.
Yeah.
You know, my dad, for all his virtues, he was not a hands-on, affectionate type of guy.
That's a
You know,
common thing.
Yeah.
Common thing. We hear that from everybody.
Yeah.
But I decided I'm gonna change that up.
Yep.
You know, I'm gonna change it up. So I hug my boys. I kiss them on the forehead. Even now, you know, I mean, I didn't get that, and it wasn't like some big deficit. But I knew, you know, I would have liked to have that. So.
You know what I'm starting to think? Maybe it was more of a deficit than we thought.
No,
because
that's what I
this
agree.
has come up constantly. that everyone says they do that with their children now, and my dad never did it with me. Not saying, and that's part of the ego part, right? Not saying that I needed it. I don't want it to seem like I lacked or missed anything. Like I don't need this dude to give me a hug. I'm perfectly fine, but I'm doing it for my son, right? But it's in a way we probably did miss that.
Yeah,
you probably did.
Yeah, no, you got me thinking now, man. Like this might turn into a therapy session, man.
No, this
let's
welcome,
for real. I mean,
welcome to the couch. That's why you're on the couch.
Yeah,
because it goes back.
You ain't know this was happening, did you?
It's all right.
Nah, so and actually to take it a step further, though it may not be that massive thing that you would think of, but it is a semblance of trauma in there.
Yeah.
From that, because we always premise or qualify before by saying, "Yeah, I don't think I needed it."
Right.
That's trauma. I'm gonna do something that I didn't get. That's a sign of trauma.
Yeah.
So I'm a licensed therapist on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so just holler at me anytime you need me.
All right. Well, this first session is free, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt,
Okay.
no doubt.
Right.
Oh, it's only $25, 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm cheap.
But I mean, that's a good point, and I didn't even think about that before I said it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I've said that over and over and over again.
I've never thought about it until we did this show, and it's come up over and over and over again.
Yep, because every time I hear a grown man say, "I kiss my son, I kiss my kids," our parents, our grandparents would have never said that, and probably never did that. It's hard to get "I love you." It's hard to get a good job, or keep it up. Like you were supposed to do that.
So I mean, I mean, even with all the things I see, I often wonder, like, where does that hardness come from? And I'm just hoping, I would encourage more men to break that cycle, And I can imagine it might be uncomfortable, if you never saw that. And I'll tell you the truth, outside of TV, one of my friends from college, man, I went home with him, and it was the first time in real life I saw a dad and a son like just embrace. And I thought it was like the coolest. Really? I thought it was the coolest thing, man. And I knew then, I was like, I'm gonna hug my son.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. So a lot, that means that goes back to something we were talking about earlier, is that more people, especially in our communities, need to go to therapy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because it's a lot of unsolved, unresolved things that people need to face. AJ, just hit me next Tuesday.
I'm fine, bro. As long as we just keep getting our guests and they're going through their therapy sessions.
It's therapy.
Yeah, it's work for me.
I see how this works. Okay. So I'm like kind of like a conduit.
We're trying to heal. We're trying to heal everybody.
Well, look, I'm here to help, man. And if this helps with my reelection, let's keep talking. Okay.
Hey, look, you ain't canceled yourself yet. I think, you're doing a good job.
Okay.
Well, look, it will be hard for us to have this without having you help some other people, right? And one demographic is, this is called Just My Baby Daddy. And it's the dads in the court systems, right? The dad that feels as though, man, she getting all this money from me and all this, or, then I'm just done with the kid. I don't want nothing to do with the situation. I'm out. I feel as though everything's against me. The court system's all against me. A lot of people have come on here and said, well, maybe you should put yourself on child support first and all this other stuff. What if you have someone that's going through this type of situation, when they realize, hey, me and her, we're just not going to work.
Yeah.
We're just not going to work. What do I do?
So the question for me, I mean, I think I'm gonna be able to get to where there's gonna be an answer for somebody.
Yeah.
But there's so many
factors for everybody.
so many factors, and I've seen like the most extreme cases where the mother wants to write the guy out the script. I mean, seriously, like, write about the script.
We've had that.
And so I've been shocked oftentimes, and there are a lot of different responses. I've seen some guys, they ready to go to war, and when I say war, I mean they gonna
fight.
They gonna literally fight. They gonna track you down at your mama house, at grandma house.
Yeah,
I want to see my baby. I want to see my baby. So you got that. Then you got the guys who. So before I was a judge, I was in private practice. And I had the guys, they call before they put any money, into the thing. But they be like, she said I can't see my child if I don't do this and I don't do. Like she gets to call the shots. I'm like, brother, strengthen up, man. You got rights. What are you talking? She doesn't get to call the shots. But I've just seen them like they come in broken. Wow. And bullied. And I'm trying to, before I can do anything, before I want to take your money, anything, I got to give you a pep talk. Like, stand up, hold your chin up, stand up straight.
It's hard out, like, when some of those men will probably be scared of nothing. Person can put a gun out in front of them right now and they'll be totally fine. Wow. But let that baby mama get in front of them and say something about the kids and you just like, what can I do?
Yeah. I mean, it was puzzling to see, but I have to recognize it was a real phenomenon. Yeah. And I think I understand why, because there's a power dynamic at play. And people do come to the court system feeling like, I really don't have a chance, whether it's custody or child support. And so, to your point, yes, do everything you can to provide for your child. So if there's not a court, I had one guy, he said, I went and asked to be put on child support.
We've had a couple people do the same thing.
And I don't think that's a bad idea. I'm just saying, if you can't do that or don't want to do that, then do the things that you can do. So providing clothes, early on provide diapers, formula, document it. Make sure you keep up
documentation
with that.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, because I don't want to just make it about the dollars, but I do think you want to document that.
Of course.
So that it doesn't affect your bottom line when she takes you into court, and it's a year later and they're looking at back child support. You can show, well, I was doing this already.
Right.
Yeah. So that's definitely good advice.
Oh wow. So when you look at all your experiences, then to kind of help men having children or trying to improve upon it, what is a common theme that you've seen that's a shortcoming that men need to work on? Yeah. To become fathers and not just daddies.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, I understand you're a counselor. So you like narcissism.
No, please stop it.
Narcissism.
No, he's really not a counselor. Don't let him. Okay.
Wait, let's do it. Let's do it.
So you understand narcissism is a real thing, right?
Oh, that is. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah.
You're very glad I don't feel like giving both of y'all the finger. I'll just be honest with you now.
You know that, right?
It's okay though.
Living, breathing proof.
Wow. But I'm just saying, like, there's sometimes it's either my way or the highway, and not really understanding the pressure of what it means to be a mom, and especially like if, again, I keep saying like if the family's not intact, especially if the relationship's not intact. I came to this conclusion a long time ago. Like it really is like the best thing you can do. One of the best things you can do is, you ain't gotta like your child's mom, but be as loving and kind as you can. And even when they wilding out, it helps to.
You said loving?
As loving as you can.
Oh,
when
wow.
I say loving, I'm not talking about, lovey-dovey.
I'm
talking about, I'm saying,
Just don't hate.
Love is patient, right?
Yeah, love is kind too.
And I used to say, at the end of these long cases, the people tell me they church going and all this. I said, well, God's giving you this great opportunity, to practice all these virtues you claim are important, like patience. Because that's what, when I talk about love, like I said, if the relationship ain't intact and y'all don't like each other, is incompatibility, that is what it is. Yeah. But you don't have to always be contrary. You gotta be some give. Now, sometimes it's hard because you don't get that in return, but again, trying to put the kids' needs first. That's what I'm getting at.
Nah, I got you. You're totally right.
Can I help you?
No, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
You want to switch seats? I can see.
No, you're not taking my job. You got your own job. Leave me alone.
Nah, he ain't hitting the nerve for me. I'm good.
I just said help. He didn't hit the nerve.
Nah. I told myself.
But check this out. So in the court system, though, especially with custody, a lot of dads are keeping score. Like one guy wasn't seeing his kid very often, and I think I had to do something where, he was now getting every other weekend. Yeah. And I set it up so he get to come back into court in another 6 months and demonstrate he's doing good with that, and we're gonna increase it. But he left out of court mad. He said, "So you taking my kid away? You taking my kid away?"
Wow.
And that's one way to look. I mean, that's one way to look at it, right? But I was puzzled because I thought I was giving the man an opportunity.
Yeah.
And he said the court system's taking his kid away. And all I'm saying is like that rigidity in thinking oftentimes doesn't serve us well. And so being able to be nimble, just like we have to be, like if you play sports, if you ain't flexible, you will break. And so even in parenting, man, you got to be nimble, and put the kids' needs first.
So being in the court system, do you ever feel like, because you know how a lot of men that are taken into the court system, especially when it comes to child visitation, child support, they always say the court system is against them. And when you say, oh, dude was like, yo, you taking my kid away, do you ever kind of understand where the men are coming from when they say the court system is against them, or is that a myth? I mean, I'm asking a question, I don't know.
I mean, it's in my courtroom, that's certainly not the case. And
yeah, you're fair and equitable.
I'm just
I believe
you.
you.
I mean, I try hard, and so, but for some folks, it's like this attitude where it's never going to be enough.
It's never going to be enough.
You
can't make everybody happy.
That's why I started talking about keeping score.
Okay.
Because, it's not. You could even do 50-50, and what it is like, no, I got to win this thing. I mean, they treat it like it's sport.
Yeah.
And that's
okay.
It's
I gotta have.
It's an attitude thing,
you.
man. It's an attitude and a perspective thing that I can't necessarily always break through as a judge. But I do try to talk and explain why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I have a question, and it's very good that we have you because you look just like us, except for you wear blue. Right.
Look, he makes mistakes in life. So he did say that earlier. He makes mistakes.
So
I do. Let me just tell you, my dad is a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
And his son
it's not
is
Kappa Alpha Psi.
Now, he taught me right, and everybody.
And a lot of things.
Yeah, you just said your daddy wasn't perfect.
Like, come on. What are the flaws?
Well, let's move it on. You got a question?
So when it comes to stereotypes, especially about us.
Oh man, his voice got deep, didn't it?
About us.
You mean this?
Do you see a big difference in how we approach things when it comes to getting in that courtroom as opposed to the fair skin? And I'm only saying that because you're a judge and I want to keep you.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer your question straight on. Man, I've seen, irrespective of race, like I see some of the same issues. I mean, I'm talking about between the moms and the dads. I see. Over there, you're thinking black and white. I'm talking about the folks from India, Pakistan. It's the same, man.
So
rich,
why,
poor, demographic wise, I see it all.
Wow.
So do you think it's more stigmatized in our community than it is elsewhere, though?
Absolutely. I mean, so I've talked about some of the negative things I see, but I've also saw dads who were earnest in wanting to be in their child's lives, who were in the kids' lives. But, because of things that come up, maybe one parent has to move out of state, they end up in the courtroom because that's hard to reconcile what you're going, where the kid's going to go. But, man, it's a misnomer if anybody hears this conversation or watches this show and doesn't understand that black dads are, if not equal to more so involved. And I think the statistics actually show that black fathers are more involved in terms of hands-on time with their kids than our white counterparts. And I don't, I'm not really trying to get into a comparison, but it's important to beat back that stereotype.
But that would never be known without somebody actually saying that, because that's not that, and that goes back to part of the reason why we're doing this show is because that story and that I've never even heard that.
Yeah.
I've never heard that piece of information. And so that helps kind of help shed light on, black fathers are present. Black fathers are there. It's not just what you see in the media. It's not just what you see on TV. It's not the stereotype that's been painted forever. Yeah. It's like, we are here.
Yeah, and that's the story. You know, the narrative is the black father's absent. I mean, and from
Baby daddy gone.
yeah, I mean, I got old Ebony magazines stacked up, and back in the day,
Ebony?
oh,
Jesus.
Where's the black father?
You got Jets too, don't you? Page 46s.
You know, I don't go to the barbershop like I used to, but back in the day,
I can tell, me
yeah,
either.
you know, back in the day, a Jet magazine.
You used to be up in the
page
dorm
46,
room?
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean, that's it's a myth, and I think it's important for us to change that narrative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Got you. So when you think about it, I took AJ's question though, but when I told AJ to shut up without saying shut up, AJ. But nah, seriously, when you think about that narrative and how that has been misportrayed, where do you think that kind of comes from, and why has it taken hold so much?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I think it fits into a broader narrative about who black men are. I mean, I think that's really the whole part. It fits into a bigger narrative.
Gotcha.
Even when we think about what sells as far as popular media, it's the negativity that sells. But in large measure, it doesn't reflect the reality. This is a time where art isn't reflecting the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, kudos to y'all, man, for helping change that.
Hey man, we do what we can.
I mean,
told
that's the
you,
thing.
therapy
People, we
session.
don't talk.
Yep.
It's so many men that do good things that just, when the narrative's out about you, you just shut up and you just take it. I mean, that's just the way it is, because we don't want to go the back and forth. We don't want to get in the court system.
Yeah.
We don't want to do any of that. We don't want any of that. So what we do, we just sit back and take it. And you just be like, he's not there. He's this. He's that. He's that. And you're like, no, I'm really here. I'm just quiet about what I do.
Yeah.
When I pick my kids up, when I do this, when I do all of that. But,
Yeah. Well, I have an eye, man, when I'm out, like it actually brings me joy when I do see dads with their kids. So it's like, it's just one of those things that I'm drawn towards now because I know I got to even to counter that narrative in my own mind. And so, we have to develop a consciousness of it. And, at the same time, I think, cultivate within our culture like an awareness, because otherwise that narrative is going to persist.
Gotcha.
And especially like in the court system, I can't speak for my counterparts, in particular my white counterparts, but I just know in the role that I have, it's important for me to see. I've said that. I say, listen, man, because they'll say, I'm a good dad. Like in court, it's like that's all they wanted. They just wanted a ruling for me to say, he's a good dad.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
And so sometimes I say, listen, man, I want you to know I see you. I list all the things they've done, but then I have to explain to them why they can't get everything you want today. But at the end of the day, I'm saying, I see you. And that's, I think that's really, really important for all of us, right?
That leads me to something though. You hit on that. So being a black judge and having, let's talk about our culture just in general. When black fathers come into court and see that you're there, do they expect something different or preferential treatment? Do you ever feel like that's the case?
My sense is they feel like they got a shot. That's the sense.
I ain't gonna lie. If I walk into your courtroom, I'll take that breath like, oh, Jesus.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. I think I'm
So
all right here.
before the age of mask and all of that, I could see that relief sometimes on their face,
That's actually interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, because you don't see a lot of it.
Yeah.
So you when you walking in, you don't know what you expect. You expect to go see this old white man sitting on there and about to be like, oh, he don't understand anything. They be like, he plays rap music around my children. Like, see, this is the type of stuff you don't need around your kids. Don't see him. Weekends.
Yeah.
Like, you like, what kind of shit is that? Like, you know what I mean? They don't understand.
Yeah, and I hate that it's that way.
Yeah.
But that does come from somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not true all the time. So it doesn't mean if you got a white judge you're gonna get railroaded and
Not at all.
treat you fairly. But that does come from a place of I think there's some historical relevance to
Okay.
Very much so, because I mean, we don't know what you're going to do, right? We're not. There's no history of black judges and how they treat black. There's no real history of that, but we do know what happens when we go in there and we see this old white man. We have a history of, a lot of times when we go in, we don't come out with it. We go in with I'm all right. We're going to make it. We come out of there mad as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I just think there's opportunity, like, just to misread certain cultural things, like hairstyles.
Yeah.
Talked
about that earlier with somebody, cornrows.
Hairstyles, the style of dress and clothing. Somebody else might read something else into that. Connecting, this style of hair and clothes means X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Drawing improper conclusions.
Got you.
So.
Oh, wow. Go ahead, AJ.
So I have a question for you. If you were, let's say it's a new father, but them and the mom, they're not going to be together, right? And they know eventually we're going to have to try to figure something out. Before he steps into that courtroom, what type of things do you think he should have himself together?
Yeah, a place to stay, that's safe. I mean, seriously, because I'm giving you a basic answer because I'm telling you, I've had people upset because they want an infant, a newborn to stay with them, a young child, and you got a 1-bedroom with a roommate. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I hear you.
And these are it's just very practical stuff. Wow. Do you have the means to make sure that you can get adequate food and clothing, and is the environment safe? Do you know who your child's doctor is? Wow. That was some of the, like, if you're going to go to court, you need to know some basics. So if your kid is school age, who are their teachers? First of all, what school did they go to?
Oh, wow.
You say, oh, wow, but there's a lot of people that don't even know that stuff.
That's why it's interesting to me. Like,
yeah.
Everything you're saying already is like, simple things.
It's simple, but it's easy to miss, especially if you've been excluded. I mean, because sometimes it's such an uphill battle. I don't even try to deal with school. I can't deal with the child's mom. So I get it, but what I'm telling you is that cross-examination, you're going to be looking kind of crazy saying you want 50-50 custody and you've not done any of those basic things. You don't know what the child's allergies are. You don't know, I've heard somebody say, they asked the father, do you know what an IEP is? Because the child had an IEP for many years, individual education plan, to address,
my daughter got something like that too. I know, I heard it. Yeah. I couldn't remember what it was. But they were stammering and, and it just kind of like, those are some of the basic things. If you have the benefit of an attorney, they should help prep you for that. But, again, you don't know what you don't know.
So
hopefully that helps somebody.
No, I'm pretty sure it will.
Yeah, just let's piggyback on that 1 second though. When you were talking about with the help of an attorney, is there something that a father that is in need or in that situation needs to know when they're looking for an attorney to help them have a better chance? Are there criteria? Are there things they should ask when they're interviewing attorneys, or like, how should they go about getting the right attorney for their situation?
The key thing, I think, is you want someone who specializes in family law.
Yes.
I mean, I understand somebody who maybe helped with a traffic ticket or this or that, but that specialization is really important. Not saying they got to be certified, but you need to know that they're in family court on a regular basis, and this is a big part of what they do.
Yeah.
The reason I ask that question is because I hear commercials on the radio that say, we specialize in only helping men in, so I didn't know if that was a real important thing. Like, find somebody that only represents men.
I think the main thing is someone who understands what parenting, the different dynamics of parenting, and can help tell your story and help put you in a position to put your best face forward. Gotcha. So you don't get in there unprepared. And so, for example, we started talking about have a decent place to stay.
Yeah.
If you live somewhere where there are gunshots fired and the crime statistics are really bad, you might want to consider moving. And a good attorney would tell you that. And it doesn't necessarily mean they always work with dads. That's from a marketing thing. That's fine.
Okay.
I would say kick the tires, talk to as many attorneys as you can afford to talk to, and find the right fit.
Gotcha.
That place to stay thing is huge, because that's the same thing I went through where I just moved to a place, And one of my biggest things was like school, which is weird because the kids don't even live with me, right? But I always try to prepare and prep myself that at any moment I could take these kids and they be with me full time, I'm ready. I don't want to have an excuse of, well, one bedroom. I was in a one bedroom with 2 kids, right? How are you gonna raise these kids? If you decide to take these kids today, how's it gonna happen? It can't. Yeah. So that type of stuff, it is important for you start thinking about your future moves. You can't, even though they're not with you every day, day in, day out, you need to start living your life as if you have your kids every single day. So that way, when you do have them every single day, you'll be okay with it.
And I mean, I think that's spot on because you never know what's gonna happen either. I mean, you know, we've had where grandparents are now in court fighting against the dad because something happened to the mom. But dad's in no position, you know, at this point. You know, because maybe, like I said, the living situation's not right. Or even sometimes it's just job, you know.
I work all the time and
So those are all things that are really important to think about. And really, like I said, kind of going back to earlier, being honest with yourself to recognize I got these deficits. You know, this is not, you know, I'm going to get lucky today and the judge is just going to look over it. You know, look at what your deficits are. Be honest. Put yourself in a better position. You know, but don't piss off the judge and say you taking my kids when you get an opportunity to get in that position to, you know. So next time you come, you know what an IEP is.
No, that definitely makes sense.
You know
so play nice till you're ready to have all that stuff when you get in court.
Oh man, you full of wisdom, man.
Listen.
Hey, therapy helped. Hey, look, you helped him out. You didn't even realize it.
Listen, I ain't been in court. I ain't going to court, hopefully.
And I think that's if you can avoid it. Yeah. I mean, it really, and I tell you that, you know, I'd rather y'all work this out on your own. But, you know, like I said, it's not always possible.
Right.
And there's some moms who are terrorists. There's some dads who are terrorists too. You know, but don't settle. Fight for your kids because you want the record to show that I was always there for you, even when I had to keep my distance. You know, I've been there and will always be here.
So you gave so much information that'll help others. But you know, when we first started talking, you were talking about you and your family and stuff like that. So when you're laid to rest and you want to be able to say, okay, this is what's going on, what do you want your legacy as a father to be?
That I demonstrated what real love looks like. I mean, I'm, you know, I consider myself a believer, not in any type of like so much of a religious sense, like you gotta be this way and go to church this many times. But I do think that, you know, you asked me about the blueprint. I really do think, you know, it's like the way I conceive of God's love is the way I want my kids to understand. You know, I'm not here. I'm always here for you. And I think even, you know, upon my demise, the lessons I taught them will be lasting, and there will be things that they will always remember that will support them in whatever they want to do. Gotcha. So that's for me, man. I mean, like I said, being patient, being kind, being forgiving. You know, all of us need that, but it means something more when a father plays that role for their kids.
It comes from a person that's perceived to have that strength, but shows that vulnerability, so it shows depth of the human. So that's deep, man. And for you to kind of take your time and sit down with us and talk about it, like you gave us court information, you gave us, you know, we gave you a therapy session, we taught you something.
Yes, sir.
You know, so, but we really appreciate you sitting down with us and just sharing your story and your knowledge, man, and we thank you wholeheartedly.
This is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people.
Well, I sure hope so, and y'all feel free to have me back, man. I love it.
Oh, no, we definitely need you back.
Yep.
After re-election.
We're going to take care of business, and then I'll be back.
Thanks for watching another episode of the Just My Baby Daddy podcast. For past episodes, go out to our YouTube channel at Just My Baby Daddy podcast. Subscribe, like, share. Thank you.